Welcome to Handmade Happy Hour. Today I've got 20 plus Easter craft ideas to share with you. I'm going to be doing projects with Dollar Tree items and supplies. I'm going to be doing some upcycling, doing some different projects for gift giving. I'm using all different types of Mod Podge, so buckle in for this hour-long tutorial video on all of these different Easter ideas. First up, I'm going to show you how you can transform some of those large Dollar Tree eggs into really cute dioramas. And for this, I'm going to paint the inside of the egg with some chalk paint. I'm using the top of the egg, the clear part, because it has a rounded back, so it's a little bit prettier. I'm going to do napkin decoupage on the inside of that egg. And look at these adorable napkins. I think these were Pioneer Woman from Walmart. These napkins are a couple of years old, but I did see some of them on eBay. So I'm separating the plies of the napkin. I'm only using the top printed ply. I'm going to go ahead and cut out my design. I'm using the scissor technique here, but you could also do a water and feather technique. That's actually my preferred method, where you tear along that water line and it creates a very nice soft edge. That will just blend in seamlessly to the back of the egg. So go ahead and prep out any of your napkins. For these, I'm doing that bunny rabbit design and I'm doing an all over flower. So I'm using Mod Podge matte. You can use gloss or satin. It really doesn't matter which one of the three formulas that you use. It just depends upon the finish that you want. So for this, I was going for a matte finish. And you can see that I'm just piecing those little pieces on, adding a little bit more Mod Podge where I need it, and painting over the napkin piece with more Mod Podge. Don't worry about that edge. You can easily trim that away. You can also use a little sanding sponge there or a nail file to sand that away. So I'm going to continue on the egg, just filling in the whole thing, trimming away the extra. Look at how gorgeous it already is. A perfect little diorama shell. Now for the other one, I'm going to do a larger motif. I did that same technique with the water to cut out the bunny rabbit. And then I'm going to Mod Podge it to the back. Adding a few more flowers. And then I'll top coat with more Mod Podge. And you can see that I filled in the inside with some cute designs. I added some of that pom-pom trim around the outer edge just with hot glue. You could do ribbon. You could really do any different kind of trim that you wanted. Now I'm going to add some shred, and you can add any little rabbits, figurines. These were from Dollar Tree. I just thought they were so cute. I love the little fake moss, these carrots. I think these carrots are out every year at Dollar Tree. So just glue in whatever little designs you want. And then you can see that I glued them to a candlestick. This is another one of those Dollar Tree candlesticks. I left it clear because I wanted that sort of crystally look, but I think it would be super cute to go ahead and paint it white or even a little distressed color. Tell me what you think. How gorgeous are these? We got a lot of projects in this video, and I wanted to share this one first because it is one of my absolute favorites. Okay, next up, I'm going to show you another Dollar Tree egg project. This is a roped egg. So I took one of those large Dollar Tree eggs and I am covering it with rope. I'm also going to do napkin decoupage, and for that I am using the satin formula. So I've got my hot glue gun helper finger cap on. You can get these on Amazon, and you can also get them at Hobby Lobby. I'm just gluing my rope to the egg and going ahead and working all the way around the egg. So I did this for 3 different eggs. And for this one, the 2 little ones, I'm going to do napkin decoupage. Again, separating those napkin plies. This napkin, I believe, was from Home Goods. So I'm going to go ahead and saturate that rope with the Mod Podge satin. It does sink into the rope a tiny bit, so you want to make sure you get it in between the little rope pieces. Then just place your napkin right on top. I'm smoothing and pressing with my fingers and then going in with my brush to make sure that that napkin really gets in between the little layers of the rope. You can start to see it there. It's so cool. It adds such a gorgeous texture. I'm trimming away some of that extra and I'm just working my way around the roped egg. This will have a seam in the back, so it will be a front-facing egg, so it's great for a mantle or something like that. Really cute on a buffet. If you wanted it to be more durable, like if you're gonna have it around food items, you could use the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and that way it would be more wipeable if you're doing a buffet or something like that. But for your everyday home decor, definitely any of the gloss, matte, or satin formulas would be perfect. You can see how I'm using the brush to really get the napkin in between those layers. It creates a really cool texture when dry. Look how gorgeous that turns out. Now for this big giant egg, I wanted to do a coordinated look, but not with a napkin, so I'm gonna paint it with chalk paint. And I matched this paint color to my napkin. The chalk is really nice because it soaks in, but it still has a really cool matte finish. It did take me a couple of coats, and I did have to go back in and spot paint. To finish it off, I added some gorgeous flowers and this velvet ribbon. I just glued that around, and then I glued the flowers on. This is also, I know I'm gonna say this a lot in this video, but one of my all-time favorite Easter crafts that I've done. I just love the big egg transformation. Growing up, my mom decorated with eggs a lot, so you'll see that I use eggs a lot in my seasonal Easter decor. All right, what do you guys think? That was project number 2. We've got 2 eggs there. Now let's do some pressed flower eggs. Everyone is doing projects with pressed flowers right now, and these are just so beautiful. I'm starting with some craft eggs, but you could also use some of those white ones that are out at the store. If you don't find the white ones, just go ahead and paint some of the craft ones, or you could paint wood ones also. You could do this technique on eggs that you have hollowed out. You would just need to have a very light hand. Look at these beautiful pressed flowers. You can order these online and the craft stores also have them. I'm using a bent edge tweezer to pick up the flowers. So I'm adding a little bit of Mod Podge to my egg, then I'm pressing my flower on there, and then I'm top coating with a very light hand with more of the Mod Podge gloss. This is such an easy project to do. If you're having trouble finding those pressed flowers, you could also do this same technique with some of the stickers that I've seen out there, and you could top coat over them. Don't worry about having a thick top coat like this. That will really secure all of the different leaves down, and it's gonna dry perfectly clear. So you can do this over greenery like you see here. Just really layer them all up. A lot of times these flower packets come in either tonal, like all different pinks, all different purples, or you can get a mixed batch. So you can really match this to your decor. Just choose the flowers that you really love. Once it's dry, look at how gorgeous these turn out. They're so pretty and they will last forever. All right, next up, we're gonna do a surprise Easter gift box. This is such a fun gift to give, and it is so easy to do with a Dollar Tree box. So let's take a look at how we put this together. I got this gold box at Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna use 2 pieces of scrapbook paper. So I'm cutting down all 4 corners of the box. I'm just using an old kitchen knife that I use as a craft knife, and we're opening that up and then just trimming that away. You don't have to worry about these edges being perfectly square or perfect because we're gonna wrap them with paper. I've done the same technique using fabric instead of paper, and it works just as well. So we're gonna measure our paper to our box and go ahead and cut that. We want the paper to wrap around each of the flaps as you can see that I'm doing here. Don't worry if it's a little bit longer. Once it's Mod Podge down, we're gonna trim that part away. For this, I only needed 2 sheets. I'm doing plaid on 2 sides and the egg print on the other 2. So let's add a little bit of our Mod Podge. Here we're just gonna use the Mod Podge as a glue. Mod Podge is a glue and sealer, so depending upon the project, you could use it for both or just one. So we're gluing that down, and then we're gonna move the flaps into the inside and glue them onto each other. Then trim away that top edge. We're gonna repeat that for all 4 of the sides. Now you're gonna let that dry for a little bit, and then you're gonna be ready to add your candy. So you can do a couple of different techniques. You can use those little foam squares. You can use a tape runner. You can use double stick tape. I caution against using hot glue because you don't wanna melt your chocolates. And make sure you have enough room on the edges for the flaps to fold up into each other. So go ahead and tape down some chocolates or candies to those edges. You could do lip balms here, whatever you want, and add a little stuffy or something in the center, and you can see how that all folds up together. Okay, let's get that top decorated. I'm gonna use a silk flower on the top, and I'm just going to add a few different of these little roses together. These are single stems that you can buy at the craft store. Just fill in the design. Okay, let's take a look at how this surprise gift works. We're gonna fold up the flaps, put the lid on, and you can see how beautiful that is. Such a pretty little gift. And then when you give it, they can go ahead and take off the lid, and look at how cute that is. Next up, I'm gonna show you some really cute napkin decoupage. I'm using this adorable carrot napkin. This was from TJ Maxx, and I just love this sort of garden style illustration. So great for Easter, but just so great for spring also. So you can see I'm doing that same feathering technique. Just gonna tear out that image. And then for this, I'm gonna decoupage it on 3 different surfaces. I'm gonna start with an Easter basket. Now this Easter basket came a light yellow color, and you can see how it works really great with the carrot. So I'm gonna use the Mod Podge satin, and I'm just napkin decoupaging to the little slats. Now every basket like this is different, but I just wanted to show you that you can take something store-bought and really alter it to whatever you want just with some napkins. You could also do paper or fabric here on these slats. So for this, let's give it a little spritz with some water. It's kind of moving away from me. All right, go ahead and place it down. And you can see that I went with the napkin going over the edge. Don't worry about that because I'm going to use the paintbrush to just push that napkin underneath the little slat. These were a pretty high quality napkin. I didn't get much wrinkling at all with them. So you're going to go ahead and top coat with a little bit more Mod Podge. And then you can see how I'm going to just go ahead, and this is a dry one here, go ahead and show you how you can add a little bit more Mod Podge there and then wrap the napkin to the inside of that slat. And that gives it a really polished look. For this, I just did each of the slats. I absolutely love how this turned out. So cute. Let's do that one more time. Just go ahead and add a little bit of Mod Podge down under there. Don't worry about getting Mod Podge on other parts of the basket. It is going to dry completely clear. And you can see how it looks so cleaned up when you have both of the edges tucked under. Just add a little bit of Mod Podge and then let your brush do the magic, pushing those edges under. So pretty. Okay, next up I want to show you a really fun, easy wreath. This started out as one of those green wreaths. I found the center because that's where we're going to have our embellishment on the wreath. We don't want that at the top. And I did paint it with the chalk paint. So this was just one of those Dollar Tree green foam wreaths. So we're gonna go ahead and do the napkin decoupage on the outer ring. So I'm using that same satin formula, adding the Mod Podge directly to the wreath base, and then I'm just gonna put our little carrot napkin pieces on there. Now for this, I'm kind of adding them on an angle so that they could sort of wrap around the wreath. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I've done this before with an all-over design or with just simple motifs like this. It's really whatever you prefer. Just adding more Mod Podge to it just to make sure it's secure. Now if you wanted this to be outdoor friendly, you would want to use the outdoor Mod Podge, or you could also probably use dishwasher safe. Not that you would be putting this wreath in the dishwasher, but that would be a good, really durable formula. So you can see I'm just adding a little bit more of my Mod Podge, and then I'm gonna put another napkin piece down. Give it a spritz. These carrots are just so cute. So this is gonna be a kitchen wreath. So it's great for Easter, but really it's just great for spring. To finish off the wreath, you can wrap it with twine, hot glue, any decorations that you want. So cute. All right, next I've got some of those leftover carrot napkins. So I wanted to show you what that looked like on a natural egg. It's really quite beautiful. So I did not paint this egg. I just went ahead and put the Mod Podge right onto the craft egg. And then with this natural carrot design, it really looks so pretty on the craft egg. Gonna go ahead and smooth those out and add a little bit more Mod Podge for those circle areas or those curved areas. You can trim and overlap the napkin, and look how cute they turn out. All right, next up is this hop sign, and I just want to show you a quick way to glitter. I've got an Easter egg shape I want to do the edges to, and that's going to be the O in the hop sign. So for this, I went ahead and I'm going to add my Mod Podge to that little O, the O that's actually an Easter egg shape. So for the edges, I'm going to add my Mod Podge onto my edges, and then I'm going to roll my little O into a pool of gold glitter. I love how the gold turns out with that beautiful carrot napkin. So just add that on the edges and top it off. And then we're going to start by kind of tapping it and rolling it in the gold glitter. And then we will finish it off by adding glitter to the top. And once that's dry, you can use that on any of your little Easter projects. Just find some wood egg shape and replace the O with that little egg shape. Let's add more glitter to the top there. And then you can see how this looks on the sign. It's so cute. I've got the H-O-P, and then of course a little bit of the napkin decoupage on the bottom. Next, I'm going to share with you a vintage style Easter banner using fabric and wood shapes from the dollar store. This is a really easy craft, so it's super beginner friendly. Grab some of those wood shapes. I'm doing this for Easter, but you could really do this for any holiday. There's so many different seasonal prints out there. So you can see I've just cut my fabric a little bit larger than my egg shape, and I'm using Mod Podge matte on this. I'm adding the Mod Podge to the egg, and then I'm going to place the fabric right on top of it. You don't have to worry about being perfect with your fabric cut because we're going to trim that away once it's a little bit dry. So go ahead and put your fabric onto the egg. You've got time to move it into position. I just love this cute little vintage design. And then once it's dry, I'm using some sharp scissors to cut off the extra. This is a much easier way than trying to cut the exact oval shape. Look how cute that looks when it's dry, so adorable. Now we're gonna go ahead and poke the hole because we're gonna be stringing this. You could use a toothpick or a sharp pair of scissors. And we're gonna top coat this with more of the Mod Podge matte. and that'll just really seal down the fabric. This is a matte formula. I wanted that because I was going with the fabric. If you wanted something glossy, you could use the gloss formula. With the fabric, it's not going to be super glossy, but it will definitely give you more shine. Let's go ahead and top coat it, and you're going to let that dry. And once it's dry, I'm going to add a little bit of the Mod Podge Sparkle formula. This just adds a little light hint of glitter. It's Aurora Borealis glitter, so it's going to pick up all of the colors that are around it. And I'm just using one of the Mod Podge detail paint brushes to go in and sort of highlight different areas of the print where I want to add some sparkle. It looks white here, but it's going to dry clear and glittery. You can finish these off in so many different ways. I'm going to add a bunch of mini gems just to highlight the design, and I'm also going to add a bunch of rhinestones to border the egg. These are the kinds of gems that you might see for diamond art painting. These are some of my favorite because they're so tiny. They've got great colors, and they're very lightweight. Look at all the sparkle there. So these are some lightweight gems that I'm just going to use our Mod Podge glue. I'm painting it along the edge, and then I'm just going to add those gems around the edge as a border. Again, you could add ribbon, you could add glitter, you can enhance these and add embellishments as you wish. Now these are some of those dollar string wood cubes. I've seen them in balls also. So Dollar Tree has these. You can get a couple of strands, tie them together. And I'm going to add some ribbons to my egg, looping it through, and then I'm just going to tie that off onto those Dollar Tree strands. You can see that that's giving me a little bit of trouble getting through that hole there. It's kind of thick ribbon. And then I'm just going to tie it off there. I love using the two different types of ribbons. I've got some of the lace, and I've got some of the checkered, and then on this one I'm adding a little bit of pink. You can really use up your scraps. All of these ribbons I got at Dollar Tree. This fabric is just so cute. I absolutely adore it. If you're looking for fun fabrics like this, quilt shops and even on eBay, I find some adorable prints there. So you can see I'm just counting over to make it even and tying that off. Super simple to do. Well, if you've been following me for very long, you know that I love to add a little extra embellishment. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down some paper flowers. These were just paper flowers that I had in my box of scrap craft goodies. You could add gems here, pearls, whatever you want. I really think it looks sweet just adding that extra little touch. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. This is one of my favorite projects that I did this year. I just absolutely love this fabric, and I love how it looks on those little Dollar Tree eggs. Just trimming up some of that ribbon, giving it a little cut on an angle, and let's take a look at each one. I love the big carrot. So cute. Okay, next up, I'm going to share with you some budget Easter gifts to make. These are so adorable. I don't know which one I like the most. I think I'm gonna go with the jar gifts, but I do love this Dollar Tree makeover also. Okay, let's start with the jars. For the jars, first up, I'm gonna show you napkin decoupage on the lid. I have cleaned the lid, I've painted it white, and I'm going to use the Mod Podge on top, and then I'm just placing the napkin on top. And again, that's just that top printed ply. Let's trim off the extra, and then I'm gonna Mod Podge the napkin to the inside of the lid. And don't worry, it will still seal and close up. I've even done this with fabric and had no problems. So go ahead and glue that inside. Let's add some shred. And then we're gonna fill with candy. You could really fill with anything if you wanted to put little soaps in here, little lip balms, even a little pair of earrings. Add your candy. Let's put our jar lid back on. And then I like to top this off with something. I'm gonna use this gold bunny that I found at the Target dollar spot, but you could also use a pom-pom, like a little bunny tail, any kind of little figurine, or even a little silk flower. Look how adorable that turns out. I love a good upcycle. This was so fun to make. Now let's do the reverse of that jar and make a little rabbit cloche. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. So I'm gonna paint the base. That was a Dollar Tree candle base. I painted that. Now I'm adding a little cork to the inside of my jar lid. And that's just to be a lift for the bunny. It's one of those dollar spot bunnies again. So let's hot glue that in. I'm adding a little bit of shred around, and then I'm just gonna put the lid, I'm just gonna put the jar back on. Go ahead and twist that on. It's a little tricky to get all of that shred in there, and I did end up trimming away some. Look how sweet that turns out. Really cute on a mantle. Next up, I'm going to do another one of those large eggs. This is that same type of egg that I showed you at the beginning of the video, but for this one, I did the chalk paint on the bottom of the egg. I'm doing that same feathering technique. I'm gonna go ahead and cut out my motif by painting it with water, tearing it, and then I'm gonna Mod Podge all of these different flowers to the bottom of the painted egg. And on this one, you can really see how the bottom of it has that flat bottom so that it sits on a table without rolling away. So in that very first project, I used the top of the egg, and in this one, I'm doing the napkin decoupage on the bottom. Fill it up with your goodies, and look how cute that is. A really elevated look from a Dollar Tree egg. Add a bow, add a gift tag, whatever you want. All right, here's another Dollar Tree makeover. Sometimes I'm always looking at these shapes at the Dollar Tree. I'm thinking this is an adorable shape, but not really the color that I want to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and repaint this. Let's give it a makeover. Trimming all of that off. You know, I realize I said Dollar Tree, but I'm looking at that price tag and it was actually 99 cents only store. But the 99 cents only store is gone now, boo-hoo. So let's go ahead and paint this up. I'm gonna do napkin decoupage. You can see that I've base coated it with the white paint. I'm giving it some Mod Podge there. And then we're gonna put that napkin on top. This time I'm gonna spritz my napkin with a little bit of water, and that's gonna help with any wrinkles. I really like to do that technique, especially if I am doing this onto a larger surface like this and something that maybe has stripes or checkers. If you're doing flowers or all over prints, the wrinkles don't really show as much. Once it's dry, I'm using a nail file to sand the excess napkin away. And then I'm just top coating with more of the Mod Podge. You can do matte, gloss, or satin, whatever you want. And then let's just add a little bit more of our color. I'm not really painting it perfect because I want sort of that rustic or weathered look. Now I'm gonna replace that tag right back on there because that was pretty cute. And look how adorable that is just on its own. Or you can create a cute little holder. For this one, I'm gonna do some napkin decoupage on one of those Dollar Tree crates. So I'm just doing it directly on there. I did not paint this because it was such a light background. I wasn't worried about the colors of the napkin not showing through. But if you had a darker crate, you would want to go ahead and paint it a light color. Go ahead and napkin decoupage that all the way around. Now, fun fact, this little crate is the perfect size for cocktail napkins. I've got a video that just went live this week where I'm showing you how to make napkin holders. This little crate is perfect for parties. You can customize it to any look. Gonna wrap a little bit of ribbon around there, and let's go ahead and hot glue our bunny right to the front there. Now you can fill this up with chocolates, toys, eggs, whatever you want. And like I said, it will perfectly fit a cocktail size napkin. Tell me what you think. Aren't these gorgeous? All right, next up, let's do some dish towel crafts. I'm gonna show you how to make Corker Curls using a dish towel. These are really simple to do and they are so cute. I love this little double display. You got a wine holder and a centerpiece all in one. For this, I found this really cute dish towel. I'm gonna cut out that rabbit motif. I got 2 dish towels. And I'm gonna use a pinking shear just because I want that sort of cute edge on it. We're gonna go ahead and cut out the rabbit. And then I'm gonna use fabric Mod Podge to attach it to a floral container. This floral container, I did find at Michael's. I'm gonna go ahead and put our little rabbit, glue that down. I'm not top coating it. If you wanted to do something that was gonna really be washed a lot or something like that, you might wanna top coat it. But for this, I'm not top coating it. Really cute, so simple. Now I want to show you how you do all of those curls. The curls are so fun to use in wreaths or any of your floral designs. Let's cut the rest of that up. This is a dowel rod and I am wrapping it with parchment paper. Parchment paper works best because you don't want the fabric while it's drying to stick. So wax paper won't work. Parchment paper is the best. I'm using Mod Podge Stiffy and I'm just gonna pour it. First, I'm gonna shake it, and then I'm gonna pour it into a recycled container. This gets a little messy, so don't use your fine china. Go ahead and pour some in there. Then you're gonna saturate your strips, and then go ahead and sort of press it through your fingers to remove the extra. Then in a curly fashion, I'm going to wrap it, or I guess I should say a twisty fashion, I'm going to wrap it around the pole. And this is going to dry for probably about 6 hours. If you have too much on there, it will take a little bit longer to dry, but it won't affect the project. And once it's dry, you can peel it away, but it's going to keep that curl shape. And from here, you can create bows with this. You can do all sorts of projects with it, but I am going to turn it into a floral pick. So I'm going to use some wood skewers. Just cut a little hole there. I'm adding it to a skewer and I'm gonna hot glue it in place. And then you can poke this into any kind of floral arrangement that you want. To finish it off, I'm gonna go ahead and add some floral tape just to make that stick green. Floral tape is so inexpensive and it's easy to work with. You do want to stretch it beforehand. You can see I've got 3 different heights going there. So I'll put my foam down into the container, poke them in, add that down in. I've got some really cute foamy eggs that I picked up at the dollar store. So add that. You can add real flowers if you want. Just keep adding to your design. And then on the other side, you've got a cute little spot for a bottle of wine. Okay, next up, I've got a couple little makeovers. These are really cute for budget Easter decor. You can find this little rabbit. I think it's supposed to be like a tiered tray look, but it was plain and simple. I gave it a napkin decoupage. I'm gonna do some glitter on the rabbit, and I'm going to make a cute little candle holder. Let's get started with our napkin decoupage project. For that, I'm going to take apart the base. I'm just unscrewing that, and that's where I'm going to do the napkin decoupage. I'm going to paint it a light color first. This is chalk paint. It's really my go-to folk art home decor. Waverly is also a nice one over at Walmart. Go ahead and peel the napkin plies apart. Now for this, I definitely wanted a little lift, so I'm using an old can of food. You can use a soup can. I like it to be full still, so it's got some weight to it. I'm going to mist my napkin with a little bit of water. And like I said earlier, that just helps with wrinkles. So go ahead and tap your napkin into place. It looks like I'm pressing down hard, but I'm not. I'm pressing really soft, and I'm moving quickly just to get that napkin down. If I see any wrinkles, I'm smoothing that out with my finger. And then I'll set that aside onto the tin can and let that dry. And once it's dry, I'm gonna go ahead and trim away some of that extra. You could sand this edge if you wanted to, but since it's going to get screwed back into that carrier, I'm gonna go ahead and just napkin decoupage it to the back and then top coat with more Mod Podge on the top. Let's screw that back into place. And look how cute, just a little extra pop of color for an Easter or spring decor display. All right, and next up, I want to show you about tinting Mod Podge. So this is one of those just little recycled glass containers. I'm adding some food coloring to my Mod Podge, and I'm mixing that really well. Then I'm just going to brush that on. It's best to try to go in the one direction so that you don't get it too streaky. And it looks kind of, I don't know, funny right now, not clear, not like stained glass. So set that aside and let it dry. And you can do a couple of coats on this. And look how pretty that looks when it's dry. Just a nice, beautiful pink color. Add a little twine, and you can add a real candle or a battery tea light to that because all of the painting's done on the outside. Next up, I'm gonna glitter one of these little rabbit figurines. So again, just adding some Mod Podge, and then I'm gonna sprinkle that glitter right on top. I like to do this over a piece of paper so I can funnel that glitter back into my container. Go ahead and sparkle up that rabbit. I match these colors to the napkin, but I really think this would be cute in gold also, maybe because I like those gold rabbits from the earlier project. But I think he turns out very sweet, and you can make a cute little display just by adding all of those things to the tiered tray. Now, speaking of tiered trays, next up, I've got a 3-tiered tray makeover. This is a double decoupage project, and it's really fun to do. This one, I'm using fabric, and you're going to be able to see the fabric from the top and the bottom because it is a double decoupage technique. All right, let's get started with this. I'm using a 3-tiered tray from IKEA, but I have seen these at Walmart and Target as well. Slightly different designs, but similar idea. For this, I'm using fabric. Fabric works best on this one because it has a curved surface. So fabric, napkins, and tissue paper. I'm using the old tin can as a lift again, and I'm going to clean this with alcohol. The rubbing alcohol will get rid of any of the fingerprints or any of the extra cardboard or wrapping materials. Let's go ahead and add our dishwasher safe Mod Podge to the entire. Now, I want to make this clear. I have turned that plate right side down, and I'm putting my fabric on it right side down because this is the bottom of the plate. So I'm going to press and smooth with my fingers to make sure that that fabric is really down. And when it's dry and I flip this over, you will see the fabric from the other side coming through the glass. Let's top coat with more dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I'm not planning on putting this in the dishwasher, but I do want to be able to put desserts on it and be able to clean it and wipe it clean nicely. You can see there, that's what it looks like when the napkin's coming through the other side. Now for this next side, I'm going to do the double decoupage, But for this one, I'm gonna do the fabric formula because I'm gonna be doing fabric to fabric. So trim away that extra. You can always go back and do a kind of a fussy cut once your next piece of fabric is down. So now we're gonna add fabric Mod Podge there, and I'm gonna add the next piece of fabric wrong side or the back side to the bottom. And that way you will see that beautiful carrot print no matter which way you're looking at the tray. Let's go ahead and smooth that into position, let that dry, and once it's dry, you will trim that away again. So just trim that away. And you could do a good fussy cut here and top coat the whole thing again, and you would be good to go. Or you can finish it out with trims and things like that. A cute little vintage style pom-pom trim would be great here, whatever you want. For this, I'm adding a nice coat of the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and I did 2 coats of that. I'm gonna go ahead and poke that hole. Again, you could use toothpick, sharp scissors, whatever you've got. And let's go ahead and add some trim around the edge. That's just decorative. You don't really need to seal that trim because again, we're not going to be putting this in the dishwasher. So cute. I love being able to see the print from the top and the bottom. Look how sweet it looks when you put a little bit of your treats on there, jelly beans. I love this IKEA makeover. Okay, now let's do a quick little DIY spring centerpiece. This is so cute. I love this little sort of milk container. We're gonna go ahead and paint a portion of that white there with the chalk paint. You know it's my go-to paint, the Folk Art Home Decor chalk, and go ahead and separate the plies of the napkin. This is that gorgeous bunny that I used in the eggs. So we're gonna do that water technique where I paint around the bunny rabbit, and then I'm just using my nail. If you didn't have long nails like me, well, my nails aren't that long, but you could use a toothpick or the other end of the paintbrush. And let's go ahead and add some satin Mod Podge there. You can use gloss or matte if you want. And then we're gonna add our rabbit motif to the center, wrapping the edges around the sides. I'm just putting the napkin into position and tapping with my fingers and smoothing out any wrinkles. Sometimes if you have a little bit of a stubborn wrinkle, if you add a little bit more Mod Podge there, then you can smooth over it with your finger a little bit easier. I'm wrapping the extra napkin to the bottom. And look how sweet that turns out. I just absolutely love it. Add a little bit of more of that trim and a bow. All right, let's take a look at ways we can finish this off. First, I'm adding some paint. I'm using a Q-tip to add some polka dots right over the design. Just add some fun color, and there's that trim going down. Just hot gluing that trim. And adding that bow. Gonna go ahead and add some greenery there. These are just some silks, but this type of container, you could use water in there also. I love how this turned out. So sweet. All right, let's do a little bit more napkin decoupage eggs. This time I've got some wood eggs. We're gonna cut some flowers out of those napkins and go ahead and get those Mod Podge down onto the egg. Same technique as before, really just finishes out this cute design. Thanks so much for watching these 20 plus Easter craft ideas today. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. I love them all so much. I'll be back here with more craft ideas to share with you.